Hello and welcome to Making Rag Rugs. What we're doing today is making a rug like this, which is as near as I can get an authentic Victorian early 20th century poor people's basically rag rug. I always imagine Granny Weatherwax had one of these in front of her hearth. So what I've done here is put a red diamond in the middle. The edging is black, that's from a pair of old black jeans. And then the bits around the diamond are simply a random kind of pattern of whatever bits of fabric came to hand. So what we do is we start off with a Hessian sack. I buy mine from a coffee shop. They import their own coffee beans in sacks, so they do have things like Brazilian coffee written on them. That's not only authentic, it's cheap, it's about the price of a coffee, and Hessian like this is more robust than the stuff that you'll buy in craft shops. So what I've done here is sticking with the diamond pattern because it's nice and easy. Drew a diamond on, which I've done here in green that's from an old curtain, and I'm now going around the outside of the diamond with some red. That's another old curtain. You can, because you're using very small pieces of fabric for these, you can use anything. You can even use those fiddly little bits of fabric that are left over from patchwork. If you cut your patchwork into an unusual shape, you end up with those little bits. You can use those, but more usually we use a gauge to take a long strip of fabric and cut it to the right length, working with. So here I've cut my old curtain into a ball, long strips of fabric wound up into a ball, because I'm also going to be knitting with this shortly. Right, so nice strip of fabric about the width of your thumb. I have a gauge here, a wooden gauge with a groove down the middle of it, and I have the tool. Now the reason that I ever learned how to do rugs like this was I've seen it done at museums like Beamish, Gresson Hall, the workhouse in Norfolk, and Weald and Downland. Thought it looked good. I bought some latch hook rugs on eBay, and this came with them. So I thought that's really meant to happen, isn't it? So nice wooden handle this. I put my thumb on the trigger, I press this down against the spring, and the mouth opens. So what we're going to be doing is taking the tool, goes down into our Hessian, up. So we're now above the Hessian again. Grip this with the mouth. So press your trigger. You swatch your fabric in the mouth, and it grips. Pull it through, making sure that we have both the ends of the seam length. So just show you that. Here we are. We go down into the Hessian, we come up through our Hessian. So our tool has now threaded through our Hessian sack, taking our little piece of fabric, thumb on trigger, mouth open, grab the little piece of fabric, pull it through. There we are. We have both our ears are the same length here. We have both pieces of fabric the same length. If you have one short piece and one long piece, that's where it's going to pull out, and you're going to end up with little annoying bits of fabric over your floor and bald patches on your rug. So just show you that again. Piece of red fabric, your left hand if you're right-handed, your working tool in your right hand, down through your Hessian sac, up through your Hessian sac. So we've now threaded our tool through the sacking. Thumb on trigger, open the mouth, fabric in the mouth, let the mouth close, so we're gripping our fabric swatch nice and tightly, pulling it through. Good tug on that, yeah. Make sure it comes through. Make sure we have both ends equal. So you're just doing this again and again and again, yeah, until you've covered until you've covered your whole sack. So you can have quite a lot of fun with this if you if you want to make patterns, if you want to do perhaps blocks of squares, or if you just want to do something completely random. But this is authentic. They are machine washable, which is great for us. But of course, sort of, I know the 1880s, 1890s, these would have been hearth rugs, and you could see they would have got quite sooty quite quickly, and housewives would have been shaking them outside the front doors. You kind of see maybe why these went out of fashion, but this kind of stuff did enjoy a bit of a renaissance recently as craftwork has become more popular. According to the Heritage Craft Association, this is still a viable craft. I think it's been kept going by museum volunteers mostly. If you're simply looking to make a rug from a zero waste point of view, or from a craft worker's point of view, nice, simple, easy way of making rugs, and this is why I made a complete ball of my curtain fabric, is to simply knit them. Nice big pair of needles, garter stitch every row knit. As you're knitting, bear in mind this isn't yarn, there's no give in it. Pull it. It feels wrong because you wouldn't do this if you're knitting a jumper, it would end up looking awful, but you're making a rug. Be a bit of a loose woman as you're pulling your cloth through. Pull it through, pull plenty through. Nice big loose stitches on your needles, so they slide up and down your needles fairly easily. Otherwise it's going to be very difficult to work with. There's no sort of giving it as you put your needle in. So this is old pair of trousers. I just started this. This is the one which usually lives under my spinning wheel. You get a lot of dust when you're spinning. So here we are. This is just strips of fabric randomly, and I crocheted these together. I found that easier than sewing, but you can just as easily sew them if you don't crochet. You might want to make blocks of colour and make definite patterns in this. I just do something completely random using whichever odd bits of fabric I had, but you do need quite decent lengths of fabric to knit rugs with, whereas with the hooking you can just use all those fiddly little bits. You can even use those awkward little bits of fabric that you have left over if you do patchwork. When you cut your fabric to a specific shape, you always end up with those little bits. You can stick those in a rag. Works really well. Something else you can do if you crochet is simply crochet a rug. If you want to make a round rug, this one I used a dark colour for the centre, so it does look like there's a hole in the middle, but this is just double crochet. Again, pull it through, give yourself plenty of slack, and just increase every sort of third to fourth stitch roughly as you're going round. Obviously, you sort of you're having this on your lap, but your lap is big enough to make quite a reasonable size round or even oval rug if you feel so inclined. another way of of making rag rugs, if you have access to Hessian sacking, is like this one here. I spiraled this, so just start in the middle and just go round and round and round, make a spiral pattern, and then just fill in those odd triangles at the end when you finished. So again, nice big ball of nice strips of fabric. I mean, there's plenty of it out there in charity shops. There's an awful lot of stuff that people don't buy because it's kind of it's not fashionable. So just I'll show you on the middle of just to show you, I'll just use a bit of the unworked middle of this one. So I have my fabric underneath, so that's sort of between my lap and the top of the Hessian. I have a nice strong metal crochet hook here. Now, if I was doing something like the spiral pattern I just showed you, I would draw that out on the Hessian before I started. This is just to show you how you actually pull the fabric up through your Hessian. So crochet hook down through your Hessian. You've got your left hand. My left hand here is underneath with the fabric. You use, get the hook the right way up. Use the hook to simply pull that up. She says, use the hook to simply pull that up through. Third time lucky. Use your hook to simply pull that up through your Hessian there. Pull enough of it through that you're not going to lose it, but not so much that it's going to stand too proud of the Hessian. Yeah. Next next stitch, crochet hook down, left hand underneath here is guiding your fabric as you locate it with your hook and just pull it up again. So yeah, you need some nice long strips of fabric for this. Cutting fabric with your good quality dressmaker's scissors. Yeah, and just keep pulling up, down with your crochet hook. Left hand is underneath, guiding your fabric, and just pull this up. Yep, time and time again. So for my spirals, I was going round and round and round, and then went round inside the spiral again. But just pulling your fabric up from underneath your Hessian. A little bit more fiddly, I think, maybe than knitting, but actually quite good fun, and you do get quite a substantial rug from that. So you know, it's all good zero waste stuff, and you've made something that only you can make. You know, I love it. So have fun hooking. Do subscribe to my channel. I have other craft things and storytelling things and what have you, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.